Hey, it's James from Marketing for Restaurants, and welcome to episode 53 of Secret Sauce, the restaurant marketing podcast. The Masterchef Effect and your restaurant. What is it? How do you get it? And how do you make the most of it when it happens to you?
Some restaurants are quiet, lose money, and the owner works 70 hours a week. Other restaurants are busy, profitable, and the owners work a few hours a day. What's the difference? They have a secret sauce. Join James from Marketing for Restaurants as he helps you come up with your recipe for restaurant success. Your secret sauce.
Alrighty, so last week we went through the Melbourne's top 20 cheap eats. So the Masterchef Effect we defined as, when you get a really good PR win, and we talked about why you'd want to get that, why it's important, how you can start sort of positioning yourself for that. But we went through some of the factors that you want to be thinking about to try and really start capitalizing on it, because there's no point in getting written up, and there's no point in getting a whole heap of public relations goodness coming your way if it doesn't actually lead to more money in the bank, I think. You want to be having that economic effect because it's so hard to run a restaurant. Most people are working harder than they should. You need to capitalize on that. And we talked about a whole series of things, people not having websites, people not having Google Analytics, people not having the Facebook Pixel installed, people using the incorrect website architecture, people having websites that aren't set up right, not claiming their Google Knowledge Panel, all sorts of things. I'll just talk briefly on a couple of those things. One, the Google Analytics and the Facebook Pixel. Now, I know that everyone runs all of these guys run small restaurants, so they don't have a lot of resources. But what I'm saying is that some of these things are absolutely fundamental, because there was one website that absolutely nailed the Google Analytics component of it. They had Google Analytics on there. They had a tag manager in there, which means that they can have other bits and pieces in there. They had 2 retargeting tags. So they absolutely nailed that. They've got a very, very sophisticated approach, more sophisticated than you need for a small business, for a small restaurant, but a very sophisticated approach to the Google Analytics. And it's interesting, they also had a very sophisticated approach to the Facebook Pixel Helper. And so the Facebook Pixel Helper, everyone who is on Facebook, is logged into Facebook. When you go to a website, you can add them to a custom audience so you can retarget to them. They had the most complicated, the most comprehensive approach to the Facebook Pixel Helper. I didn't name too many of the restaurants because, not all of them did a good job. And I don't like, to sort of blame, small independent restaurants, because everyone knows how busy everyone is. I will name these guys though. I've named them before. I'm probably not on their Christmas card list. This was Menulog. So one of the restaurants had a Menulog website there. So every order that they got, all of the public relations, that actually went to Menulog, all of that benefit. Every extra order that they got taxed 13% on the orders that were coming through. Menulog their Menulog rep will probably do the right thing and say, see, look at all of the marketing that we're doing on your behalf. Now, these guys have done a really, really hard job to build a restaurant to get listed in the top 20 cheap eats for 2017 in Melbourne. And all of those orders, they're getting charged an extra 13% for. So they're getting taxed on the hard work they're doing to get listed in the first place. And they're not getting any of those email addresses. Menulog is tracking everyone who's going. They know exactly who's going to that website, and they're remarketing to those people really, really, really aggressively. And you'll see this when you go to some of these websites, that you'll then see ads that pop up and it'd be like, oh wow, here's 3 restaurants that are local to me that are on Menulog. This is the really aggressive marketing that they're doing. And part of it's AdWords arbitrage. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a future episode. Same with Facebook. The only people doing a really, really good job of this was Menulog. And that's because they can make a truckload of money out of it. And I think that's the lesson that you should be taking out of it. So we've talked about the effect that you can get when you get written up in a decent list, which is exciting. What about when you're on national television? So how do you prepare for that? What does it look like, and what's the economic impact that can happen? So we spent quite a bit of time building the website for Restaurant Lume and Chef Sean Quaid. We spent a lot of time and effort in getting the imagery really perfect. Chef Quaid, a lot of a perfectionist really. and wanted the images of he's put all of his blood, sweat and tears into the dishes that he prepares at the restaurant every night. He wanted them to look absolutely immaculate. So there's a couple of things that they've done to prepare themselves for this. So they've gone and got a professional photographer who we've used for other restaurants as well. He's very well renowned, and he took some amazing photos. That's the first thing that they've started off with. Then what we've done is we've taken those images and we've put them on the website in a way that, and this was the delicate balance that we had to have. Bigger images display better. That's just the way that it is. But we needed them to be not too big because we knew that coming into MasterChef, and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people watch MasterChef. I actually downloaded some ratings information just to see just how many people it was. And I think on a Monday night, there's generally about 800,000 people across Australia who are watching MasterChef. To which I thought, holy cow, that's a lot of people who are going to potentially want to go on the website. Now, why would they want to go on the website? And I think this is the really interesting thing because we actually saw this in real time. I did a quick Facebook Live as we were doing it, and I was showing the live Google Analytics. And so we did a video of me sitting there talking about what was actually happening as it was actually happening, and we had the Google Analytics live traffic data in the top left-hand corner. And this is what the MasterChef effect is. At about 7:25, probably at about 7:10, there was about 10 people on the website at once. That's quite, for a restaurant website, that's a lot. Interesting thing was, most of them were outside of Australia. 7:20, we're up to 20, and you could tell things were starting to tick along. The show started, and they mentioned Restaurant Lume. Bang, it jumped to 50. Then you get the bit where they go through what happened previously, and then they introduce Chef Sean Quaid from Restaurant Lume. And wow, it went from 100 to 200 to 300, and I was like, holy cow, it's really starting to get kinetic now. We had a developer working over that period of time, just monitoring the website so that we could make sure that it stayed up. And I called him. By the time I said, hey, how's it going? And he said, yeah, it's good. We're up to 450. And I said, so what's the CPU at? And he goes, we're toddling along at about 45%. And it's like, okay, that's good. What do you think we're going to be able to max out to? And he said, well, at the rate we're going, I think it's going to be about 750, maybe 800 people. You've got to remember, this is simultaneously on the website at once. And I said, that's not going to cut it because that's probably only 2 minutes away. And in the time that it took me to say that sentence, I turned around and we were at 900. The next refresh, we hit 1,000. And it was like, what's the CPU at now? And he goes, it's gone up to like 52%. It's like, well, it's actually scaling really, really, really well. So I suspect that we probably could have gone to 3,000 or 4,000 people simultaneously on the website at once. And we peaked out at 1,184 people at once, which is absolutely massive. We were serving up 25 page views a second. That is the MasterChef effect. All of those people had gone, what's Restaurant Lume? Who's Chef Sean Quaid? And they've gone on the website. Now, the thing that was absolutely massive and fascinating was, and Jason, the developer, picked up on this. He goes, look at how many mobiles are on there. And so 90% of that traffic was mobile. 90% of the traffic was mobile. That's huge. I've never seen anything like that. But you've got to think about it. It's not all computers and servers and WordPress and all of that sort of stuff. Marketing is about the interaction with the customer and the product. All of those people were sitting on a couch watching MasterChef. They had their phone with them. That's why we had 90% of people on their mobiles. So absolutely huge. I've got a great video of it as well. So I'm going to publish that in the show notes, or we'll do a blog article around this as well. The traffic it literally went from 0 to 1,000 in a couple of minutes. It was really quite frightening to see from the point of view of the guy who was responsible for having the website up. Now, we've already talked in quite in-depth about the mistakes that people make. And I think that when you're preparing for the MasterChef effect, the first one is not having a website. All of those guys were looking for that for the story. Who is Chef Sean Quaid? And then throughout the rest of the night, so let me find out more about the Pearl on the Ocean Floor. Let me find out about this restaurant. Where is it? How much is it to eat there? There was a lot of people going for the menu page. That was really interesting. And a lot of people going to the booking page. So you've got to have that website because that's where you can tell that story. And the other thing that was really amazing was the number of page views. So being a fine dining restaurant, they will often do a lot more page views than a generic website. And there were some people who were looking at 20 pages. They were going through the gallery. They were looking at each of the things and thinking, wow, that's absolutely amazing. And that's what that's what you want in a gallery. And they've got, 20 amazing photos of amazing meals that they've got there. They don't have a photo of my favourite meal there, which is the cheese. But, I don't know why. Now, the next mistake that people make is not building a website that's going to scale. Okay, so when we talked about the restaurant's top 20 cheap eats for 2017 in Melbourne, one of them said bandwidth exceeded. And this is the classic thing that happens to your restaurant website is that your hosting provider will give you an allocation of traffic and it'll just go over that allocation and then they just shut your account down. And I think that that's really quite tragic. It's not a big job to fix that. We monitor them, we check everyone daily, and we also get reports on how much traffic people are using so that we can sort of be quite proactive in it. Not to say that it doesn't happen, but they were only getting the traffic from Cheap Eats, and that traffic was divided by 20. There's 20 restaurants there. The Masterchef Effect, there's only one restaurant that they're talking about, and all of that traffic is going to your website. So it's absolutely huge. So there's a couple of things that you need to think about. One, we talked about the size of the images. Now, because we use WordPress, our restaurant customers, they'll upload images, and some of them will upload 4 meg images or 5 meg images that have just been taken by a camera or a smartphone that takes big photos, and it goes up, and that can cause bandwidth to blow out massively. So that's one thing that you want to think about. Now, as part of our support contract, we just go through and we look for those big images, we let the customer know, and we'll resize them for them and make sure that they're not going to get their account turned off. What happens with a lot of other providers, though, they'll just turn the account off. They don't really care. And I think that that's really sad, particularly if you are on TV, because that is going to be very short-lived. That traffic is going to spike incredibly, and then it's going to back off, really quite quickly. So, and we definitely saw that with MasterChef. The traffic that they received, probably 80% of that was in the time that the show was actually on. Bearing in mind, of course, that Perth is 2 hours behind the eastern states. So you need to make sure that if your website goes down, then you're going to miss out on most of the benefit of the Masterchef effect because your website went down and all of those people who were looking for your story have gone somewhere else. And God forbid they go to somewhere and look at something like TripAdvisor, they look at all those crappy reviews and think, oh, the place doesn't sound that good anyway. That's the kind of thing that you really need to be worried about because Google wants to serve up your page first if people are looking for your restaurant. If it's not there, then they're going to go somewhere else. We were actually quite nervous. That's why we spent quite a bit of time in making sure that the website was incredibly robust, and big shout out to the guys at Amazon for helping us with an AWS solution that was going to be scalable and be able to handle that kind of traffic. At one point, we were serving up 25 page views a second. And the thing that was so scary about it is that these weren't small pages. Some of them, I think the homepage was a meg, which is huge in website terms. But we wanted to present those beautiful images in all their glory. And to do that, you've got to have big pages. You've got to have big images. And those big images, they take time to download. So to be able, we were effectively serving up more in excess of 25 meg per second, which most web servers would probably die with. Even though we had done all of that hard work, we were still quite concerned. Speaking to Veronica Phil, the business manager there, they had 4 friends who'd been on MasterChef and all 4 of their websites crashed. And we knew that we didn't want that to happen because of then that story gets missed out on. There's a whole heap of flow-on effects from people not being able to go to the website. The third mistake that people make when they're sort of planning for the MasterChef effect is not having the Facebook pixel. So Everyone who went to the website and was logged into Facebook is now in an audience for Restaurant Lume to retarget. And they might retarget all of them. They might retarget people in certain demographics or in certain job roles. There's 101 things that you can do that are really innovative around Facebook custom audiences. That's what you want to be thinking about when you're doing that with your website, making sure that you've got that Facebook pixel in. If you put the Facebook pixel in, then you are probably in the top 10% as far as restaurant marketing goes with Facebook, because we think that only 10% of them have got the Facebook pixel in there. And this is one of the things that we keep driving into restaurant owners is your Facebook campaigns are much, much, much less effective if you're not putting people who go to your website into a custom audience. Absolutely critical. Now, the fourth mistake is not taking bookings online or online orders. So you've got the Masterchef effect. Online orders is less important. The bookings, I think, is absolutely fundamental. People come along and they think, wow, it looks really good there. Now, rather than drive them to make a telephone call, rather than, hope that they think, I'd like to eat there on Saturday night, and then rely on my faulty brain to remember on the Saturday night to actually that I need to get in the car on this cold, cold night and go out to a restaurant and eat there. You want to lock that booking in, because then you can send out the reminder email. Then you've got their email. Then they're in your database. All of that goodness that can happen. And, the thing that's really exciting about what Restaurant Lume is doing is that they use a booking system called TOC. It does prepaid bookings. We did an interview with Veronica a while ago. Have a listen to that with the impact of TOC. But the long story short is they cut their no-shows to virtually zero, and they've got money in the bank. Now, the interesting thing is that these guys take bookings out for the next few months. Now, every booking that they took is cash in the bank because they're prepaid bookings. I think it's interesting. It hasn't really caught on in Australia just yet, but particularly when you're doing things like fine dining where a no-show can be so costly for you, the ability to take bookings out 1 month, 2 months out, that's cash in the bank. You're actually getting paid before people are eating. This is exactly what the airlines do. So it's not something that consumers are completely unfamiliar with. But these guys have got money in the bank. So they are competing with people who are getting paid on a nightly basis for food that they're pre-buying. They're buying in all of those ingredients, then they're cooking them up, and then they're getting paid for it. These guys are getting in before they've even gone out and purchased the produce. That's a massive competitive advantage, something that you need to definitely think about. Now, not preparing for the Masterchef effect. What is the impact of that? For these guys, they took tens of thousands of dollars worth of bookings on the night. If their website had been down, how many of those people would have come back on the next day to make that booking? I am pretty confident that would have been tens of thousands of dollars in lost revenue. This is why it's really critical to make sure that you've got all of your ducks lined up in a row when you are expecting the Masterchef effect for your restaurant. Now, so you've done everything right. You've got a great website that helps tell your story. You've got some great imagery there that's going to help try and sell the fact that you want to take a booking or an online order for whatever it is that's driven a whole truckload of potential customers to your website. You Facebook pixeled them. You're taking bookings or online orders, depending on what it is that you're doing in your restaurant. The last mistake that a lot of people make is using the wrong booking system. Or online ordering system. You don't want to be sharing those contact details with anyone because, one, you don't want to be paying for it. So you've got people out there like OpenTable, Dimmi, in the Quandoo as well, in the online booking space. Then you've got people like Menulog, Just Eat, Delivery Hero in the online ordering space. These guys, they're either plus or minus going to share the email address, but they view it as being their email address, so they're able to then send out emails to other customers, knowing the kind of food that customer likes to eat. In the online ordering space, they're charging a commission for it up to 13%. Dimmi's charging $3 if it comes through their network, $1 through your website. You've gone and done all of the hard work to create something that is, public relations worthy, whether it's being written up in a blog or being featured on TV. You've gone and put in all of that effort. You want to make sure that you're collecting the email addresses, that they're not going anyone else, and you don't want to be taxed for the hard work that you've put in to get to that point. I think that's the thing that you really, really, really want to be thinking about. So most for things like this, and particularly for a MasterChef, then there's a few alternatives out there. So Lume use Tock, which is out of the US. There's Obi, which is Australian-based, and those guys do a pretty good job. And, of course, there's our free online restaurant booking system, and we've got customers who are taking huge numbers of bookings with that, and some of them have saved over $10,000 just by taking bookings on their own website completely free. And of course, we've now got customers who've got, 5 or 10,000 email addresses in their database. How easy is it to drive demand on a cold winter's night when you can email out to 5,000 people who've been to your restaurant and had an amazing experience there? That's pretty much the Masterchef effect. So firstly, a big congratulations to Chef Quade and the team at Restaurant Lume. Really, this is the thing that you need to be thinking about. It wasn't their goal to be featured on MasterChef. This is one of the awesome things that can happen when you put in all of that hard work around creativity, innovation, ingredients, technique, customer experience. When you put all of those things together and you put all your heart and soul into it, then good things happen. And being featured on MasterChef is one of the good, if not great, amazing things that can happen to your restaurant. And I think that everyone... in your head, you should be thinking, what is our MasterChef? What is it, if we do the best that we possibly can do, what are the good things that could happen from a public relations point of view? Then you want to really start thinking about how you're going to position yourself to capitalize on that. So make sure that you've got a website and a website that's going to scale. We were pretty excited the fact that the server infrastructure that we put together with Amazon was able to stay for all of that time. We were super stoked that the guys at Lume were able to take so much in the way of prepaid bookings. I think that that's absolutely amazing, and that's a very tangible way that you can measure the success of being on something like MasterChef. And just think about that. If you don't have a website, then the tangible effect is... well, there isn't a tangible effect. You might be busier, but you're going to miss out on all of those email addresses, all of those things that we've been talking about. We talked about a lot of the things that you need to think about, what kind of technology you should be using on your website, making sure that you're integrated with Google, making sure you've got the Facebook pixel. All of that stuff's pretty complicated, but they're the things that we do day in and day out. And I think it's important to really have a think about that, whether you want to be doing that yourself or you want to be getting someone else to do that. And it's interesting. So it's 7:30. I'm still at work on 7:30 on a Saturday night. How sad's that? But I was passionate about getting this podcast out because just to see the effect and to see the number of restaurants who have missed out on the economic benefit that they could have from the cheap eats write-up. I thought it was important to have a good chat about it. And so I've been doing a lot of research today, and I've created a spreadsheet which will go into the blog that'll just show, just what people are doing and all of that sort of stuff. The websites that we produce, they have a lot of this stuff just straight out of the box. We make sure that the Facebook pixel's in there. The analytics is set up, so we don't use Google. We use Piwik, which I've said before, because it gives us more granularity. It will actually say, if you run a campaign, it will say, 20 people made a booking from that campaign. That's a fundamental thing. All of this feeds into our free restaurant CRM system, which is starting to get some real bite as far as tangible results for our customers. So have a think about that. So yes, and as I said, it's 7:30 here, and I just received an email from someone who's using our free online restaurant booking system, looking for some help on their website, and she's trying to put Google Analytics on a page which she's not sure where the website's hosted, and there's a few other issues, and I've said to her, well, we can do all of that for you. It's probably, and it's 7:30 on a Saturday. I would have thought she should be in the kitchen, she should be working, or front of house, she should be out there making sure that her customers are getting awesome food, not worrying about this kind of stuff. You want to focus on the things that you're really, really good at. If you are expecting to have something, go completely berserk, then you need to start thinking about, you can't just have a normal website hosting package, with your Weebly or your Wix or someone like that. You need to make sure that it's going to scale and it's going to be able to handle a truckload of traffic. You need to make sure that you're having a good hard think about how you're going to actually monetize that, because you don't want to be on TV and then not get any economic benefit out of it. And I think that this is the fundamental thing. And we've seen this. So we've had quite a few seasons of MasterChef, and the thing is that when you go back to some of those early seasons, some of the restaurants that were there, and they don't get crappy restaurants on the show. The restaurants that they've got there are, top notch. They're doing all of the things right, and yet some of them are still closed. And that's because of the fact that this MasterChef effect, it's quite fleeting. What you must do, what is absolutely critical, is that you need to milk that for every single ounce of economic benefit that you can. Because running a restaurant is a full contact sport. You're getting this great PR. If you don't have a website, if you're not Facebook retargeting, if you're not taking bookings online, if you're not doing any of those sort of things, then they're going to look at you, they're going to watch the show, they're going to maybe Google, maybe find your website, maybe not, maybe it's going to be down. Some of them will make a booking. Some of them will pick up the phone and say, yes, can I come in? Some of them will wander by and think about it, or they'll see some of your other marketing and go, oh, yeah, I've been meaning to get to that place. But, it's interesting because one of the ones that was on MasterChef a few years ago, I heard that they'd closed, and my immediate reaction was, oh, damn it, I meant to go there. But it was too late. So I had money in my pocket, ready to go, but I'd just forgotten about them. And it was like they were on my list in my head, but I just needed that trigger to go, hey, James, remember when you saw this dish on MasterChef? The brand recognition was there. It was just that they'd never reached out to me in a place where I was paying attention to say, don't forget about us, James, because we've got some pretty awesome food and we're sure that you're going to love it. That's what you need to be doing. Everyone's super busy. Everyone's working on making sure that their story's great. These guys missed out on it. I think that that's really sad. So, it was exciting for us seeing 1,148 people on a website at once, serving up 25 page views a second. A second, that's huge. And it was super exciting seeing a real and tangible economic benefit for the guys at Restaurant Lume, which is a real and tangible benefit for all of the hard work that they've been put in. It's not easy running a restaurant. It's certainly not easy running a fine dining restaurant. It's actually quite an emotional thing. You get reviews, you get people who don't understand the food and, saying all sorts of crazy stuff. It's really nice to get that recognition by being on something like MasterChef, and it's even nicer to get the economic benefit out of it. So that's it. We've covered a lot today. The two things that you really need to think about is run your business every day like there's going to be a Michelin judge in tomorrow. Build the team, build the menu, build your techniques, build your innovation and creativity processes to be able to make sure that you would be proud and excited to have a Michelin judge come in and not, oh my God, can you come back, maybe in a week or in a month. When you turn the lock tomorrow, have a think about that. Would you be excited or scared? And then plan, have a think about it. Read through the show notes, go through some of the things that you need to be thinking about with your website and your online marketing in general. Because getting all of that right, getting that great PR, that means that you're well and truly on the road to running the kind of restaurant that you always wanted to have. So, hopefully I will be reading about your restaurant in some great epic write-up. I'll see something that's gone viral, or you might even be on TV, and we'd love to see that as well. That would be completely epic. So that's it. Hopefully you'll have a busy day. Bye.
Want more customers for your restaurant, cafe or takeout? Every month, our marketing tools and information are used by thousands of restaurant owners just like you to help them find more customers and turn them into repeat customers. All of our tools and information is designed specifically for restaurant owners. We know you don't have a lot of time to spend marketing or learning complicated procedures, so our tools are quick and easy to use. If you're looking to increase your revenue and profits or want to work less hours, check out marketingforrestaurants.com.